everyone, I'm Bianca.
And I'm Rosina. And welcome back to
Twins in Stitches. Today we have a crochet tutorial for you all. This is the first crochet piece of clothing on our channel.
Yes, so I'll be showing you how to make this super cute tie-up v-neck vest. It's made of a back panel and 2 front panels, and then we sewed it together and put some bows in the middle. So it is quite simple. I'm sure you'll be able to follow along. So yeah,
let's get started.
So to start our work, what we will need is our yarn. I'm using this nice turquoise colour. We need around 200 grams and our hook. We will also need a needle and some scissors. So let's start. So we're going to start by making our starting chain. Now, do note this is not a beginner video, but I will be going slowly, so you will be able to keep up hopefully. I do have a beginner video, so feel free to check that out. So in order to start, we are going to do our slip knot. As a reminder, to create a slip knot, we put the yarn in front of our 4 fingers. We open our fingers round, flip. We pinch in, pinch up, and pinch in, pinch up again. And that is our knot. I will be using, just to chain, a hook that is slightly bigger. So this hook is 5mm, and the hook we'll actually be using is 4. Now, why do I do this? I do this because when you chain, usually chains are quite tight and then your stitches are bigger, so your work will curl. So by using a bigger hook, we just only need to chain. That means when we do the stitches in a smaller hook, then it will balance out and we will have no curving. So let's start. We are going to be doing our back panel. So this is our back panel, which I've already made. So what we need to do is we need to chain the amount of stitches that we want for our back. I chose to go with 64 stitches. So let's start. So to chain, remember, we kind of whoosh and go through. So remember, for our chain, we whoosh and go through, whoosh and go through, and we'll do 64 of these. So I'm going to do 64. You really just measure it. In terms of how many stitches to do, I would highly just recommend doing like a good amount, and then kind of putting it around your torso. This is obviously just your back, so putting it around your back, getting someone to check what they think, and checking if they think it's a good amount. So here we've got a good, I don't know, it's probably like 12 stitches, maybe 10, I'm not sure. So I'll continue until I'm on 64. So reminder, to chain, you just yarn over and bring it through. So I have now made my chain of 64. Obviously, do the amount that fits you. And now we are going to start our stitches. So we'll be doing half double crochets. So as a reminder, how this works is we yarn over. So we put the yarn onto our hook. We go into our first stitch. So we've got this gap here. But this gap here is our current stitch, so it does not count. This is our stitch. You see, each stitch is a V shape. So this V is our next stitch. So we yarn over and we go into this V. We now have 3 loops on our hook. We yarn over and go through just the first. Now we've got 3 loops again, but they are more well defined. And then you yarn over and go through all 3. So we do that again. We yarn over. We identify our next stitch. It's not this. This is where we just went. It is this stitch. So we yarn over, go into that stitch. We yarn over, go through the first, and yarn over through those. Yarn over, in, yarn over first, yarn over through all three. And now we've got, how many? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 stitches so far, and we continue till the end of a row. So we have reached the end of our row. We've got 2 stitches left. The exact same thing. We go in, yarn over first, yarn over three, and the same thing at the end. Perfect. Now we are going to continue this until we have our desired length. So this way. All you need to do really is check on your back what it looks like. But I'll be showing you again just how to start a new row in case you have forgotten. So what we do is we chain 1. We turn our piece around. And now we start. Now we need to identify our first stitch, which again is just this one here. So this is our first stitch now. So we yarn over and go in, yarn over through, yarn over through, and again. And I'm probably going to speed this up, but you want the length that you want, you know, the desired length. So I end up doing mine quite long. Okay. I end up doing mine pretty long. I mean, it's just the size of my back, but I'll get back to you once I've done the end. So I finished this, the back. We can see that it's pretty much just a huge rectangle. So it's quite straightforward to make, which is lovely. And now we need to go in and add some sort of shoulder pads. I wouldn't say shoulder pads, but it's going to be thicker on the shoulders. So we're going to add a bit more work here and a bit more work on this side. Alright, so this is the side that we finished on. So what we will do is we will insert our hook. By the way, this method of starting again, like adding more to a current piece, adding thread again, it can also be used if you run out of yarn throughout your project and you need to add a new ball of yarn. We get our yarn and we essentially just make a slip knot with it. So our yarn, we're making a slip knot, so round, round, pinch, grab, and then just like so, just like the slip knot we made before. And we're going to insert it here. So we put it onto our hook and we bring this through. Now we're going to do a chain 1 because we are starting a new row. And now what we do is we are going to we don't use the short yarn, we use the yarn attached to the ball of yarn. So we are going to yarn over and put a half double in this current stitch. And we continue across. Alright. And we're going to do a fair amount of stitches, not too many. I personally want quite thin straps. It's not going to be a strap, but it's more to be where it's going to meet the front project. So I have decided I'm going to do 7 stitches. So far I have done 3, 6. So I've done 6 stitches so far, so just one more. Whoops. So what are these for? Well, think about it. On top, you want to be able to have somewhere to connect the front and back together. So the front will basically thin, and we can then attach it just to the top here. Just in case of instead of having this whole piece right on your neckline, we just have it a bit more dropped down. And we're going to do 2 or 3 rows of this. Depends how much we want. We could even do more. Depends how spaced out you want it to be from your neck. So we just continue this, doing our half double crochets. So now that I've done my 3 rows, I like this length, so I'm going to cut this off. So if I can find my scissors, here they are. So I cut the yarn and I wrap as if I were doing a chain, I wrap the yarn over the hook and I pull it through. And that's that. So we'll do the same on the other side. That's what we've got. We have got our whole rectangle with these 2 little bits on the side. So we are done with this and we'll be going on to our front panels. So I have already made one front panel and it looks like this. So I'm going to show you how to make the other one. So obviously we need 2. Okay, so to start our front panel, we do the exact same thing as for our back. We do our slip knot. And now we want to chain half the amount of stitches that we chained before. So for example, before I chained 64 and I'm now going to chain 32. Again, remember, it's a good idea to use a big hook just so that your stitches do not end up curling upwards. So I've done a chain of around 7, so I'll continue and do 32. We have done 32 stitches, but we're going to add one more. Remember, this will be your turning chain. So we added one, and now that stitch counts as our turn, and the first stitch we place will be not in there, but in here. So it'll be just in here. And we do our half double crochet. Okay, and we'll continue this till the end of a row. And actually we are going to continue this on just like we did before until around the halfway mark. Alright, so this is my piece that I did before. And as we can see that this is quite split in terms of the amount that is the full rectangle and the amount that has this triangle shape. So what we need to do is, if for example if I half it, this is kind of half. So it really depends how deep you want your V to be. If you want it a bit more shallow, you can do it further up. If you want it a bit deeper, you can do it further down. So it really depends what you'd fancy. I recommend just kind of putting it onto your body to really see if you fancy it, if you like it. And yeah, so we're going to now continue working until we reach the point where we want to start our triangle looking shape. So I have now done the kind of rectangle shape and I'm ready to start my triangle. Now the triangle involves a decrease. So a decrease means we end up making 2 stitches, just 1 stitch. So how do we do this? Well, we'll be doing the invisible decrease. So here we have 3 stitches left. You can see 1, 2, 3. And we need to just have 2 left. So we do 1 normally. Okay, here's where we change it up. So what we do is we yarn over. This is a decrease, okay? It's called an invisible decrease. So you yarn over and go into your next stitch. You yarn over through the first, just like normal. Then you yarn over through the first 2. Okay? Seems fine. Perfect. Now, instead of yarning over anywhere else, you yarn over and you put into the next stitch. Okay? And then we do the same. We yarn over through this little cluster, yarn over the 2, and then yarn over all 3. So what this is doing is this is making our decrease. So you see we had 2 stitches and now it's just 1. We chain 1, turn around, and we do it again. So obviously you'd only be decreasing on one side, but each time you decrease you do it twice. So you do it on the way at the end and on the way back. So remember, we yarn over, go into our stitch, yarn over up, yarn over through the first 2, yarn over through the next one, yarn over up, yarn over, yarn over. And we continue just normally. So we do a half double crochet, good, another half double, good. And we get to the end, and then when we come back we do the same, decrease again. Alright, so we are back on our side of decreasing. Now, it can be a bit hard to tell how many stitches we have left. So what I will say, this is obviously a stitch. This is obviously a stitch. Now, is this a stitch? Well, no, it's not. And how we can tell is underneath we have 2 stitches going into one, and that one is this one. This just happens to be the side of one of our stitches from before. So these 2 go into here. So this is our final stitch, this one. So to summarize again how we do this, we yarn over as if we were going to do a half double crochet and we go into our stitch. Yarn over through the first loop, yarn over through the 2. And we do the same thing, we yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over through there, yarn over through 2, now we've got 3 left, and yarn over through all 3. Remember, we do this again, so we go ahead and we turn our work and we yarn over, identify our first stitch, which is this one. Now we're on the stage of the 3 loops and we do the first 2, yarn over the next, first 2, yarn over next 3. So that is our decrease, and we continue this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we have our desired length. Now what I ended up doing was, mine wasn't long enough, so what I did was I ended up just going straight up. Now you can do this, you can leave it as this. I just figured that if I continued doing at an angle, then it would get far too skinny, but it would be too short. So this is essentially why I did this. So to let you know, this is sort of a double decrease because the stitch, because we're going over so many times, the stitch is a bit taller, but I still really like how it looks, and I think it looks nice and invisible. So we're good to do this one. So we've got our project, we've got the back panels and the front panels. Now we need to just assemble it together. The first thing we will do to put this together is we will do half double crochets along here. So we're going to go through both pieces. So I'll show you how to do that now. So we'll first do it on this side, then we must do it on this side. So we have our right sides facing. For me it doesn't really matter, but I don't know if you have a side you prefer. Sometimes stitches look nicer and neater on one side. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and put our hook into the bottom stitch of here and into the bottom stitch of here. So each stitch, because we've done the same amount, should have a corresponding stitch. Now this might be a bit difficult just because pretty much the fact that we can't see the stitches as clearly as we can here, but we can still do this. Again, like before, we'll do our slip stitch, and we put this through, and we are simply going to just chain 1 and go ahead and knit and crochet them together. So we go 1 and we go 1, so we pick up one of the front layer and back layer, and then we do a half double crochet. So we're going to do a half double, so there, oops, there and there, and through, yarn over, into a stitch, into another stitch, yarn over, through. So we are matching these up, trying to go at the same rate, the same rhythm, and we basically just continue this until the end. And we do the same on the other side. Now, I lied, it's not until the end, it's until our armpit hole. So you want to figure out how big you want the hole to be for your arm, whatever you really fancy, so kind of just do it up till there. So here is our vest, and we're now going to make the bows. In order to do this, we will do a chain. Our chain will be of a decent length, so maybe something like 15 stitches. And no, do you know what, it's going to have to be a bit longer. So you want a length that you'll be able to tie up. Then we'll cut this. We cut it, and then we will sew this into place. So we will get our tapestry needle. We will thread our needle and sew this on. So we're pretty much just going to go in, bring the thread through, and then we really just want to secure this in place by going round into the same stitch. So just sew it on basically, whatever way feels right to you. And then we'll go ahead and then that's just securely in. And then we weave this in. So it's a bit confusing because we've got so many tail ends, but this is a tail end. And what we do is we pretty much just put this through our stitches. To know how to weave in detail, you can see my How to Crochet for Beginners video, which I have linked in the description. So we just put the needle through our stitches and pull this through. So now this is nice and secure. Give us a little snip, a little shake. Lovely. So we're going to put, this is our first chain. We need to put 1 here, and I want 3. So 2 here, then 2 right at the bottom. And I'll meet you once we are done. I'm also going to weave in all these ends like I just did for this. Alright, so I have finished. This is my work. But you can see I've got 3 bows. You can do as many as you fancy. I think 3 is quite nice. So here it is. So I hope you enjoyed.
So thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you were able to follow along. Please do subscribe and like if you would like to see other content, and if you have any suggestions, do let us know in the comments. We really do make a bit of everything, so yeah.
Lovely. Alright, so we'll see you soon.
Bye!